Hello everyone, friends and subscribers. I need to do a little voice to camera or get the phone running to prove it's not a deep fake or whatever other stuff people are up to these days. This is myself, Daniel. It's been a while since I did a YouTube video. I do still intend to resume my YouTube video making. I actually have some interesting ideas I'm working on. Just been kind of busy for the past year, I would say, which is probably when I stopped uploading. Initially it was a lot of busy work stuff, but then so much of this year has gone towards various things related to pregnancy. So my wife and I are expecting in a month, and this is my home office. It's seen much better times. This is a French flag. Don't ask me why there's a French flag hanging in my office, where it came from. Some things are not clear in life. And this is the other side of my home office. It's going to be a nursery, which is why all my tech gear and camera gear and whatnot and Ethernet cables are out, and it's chaos. It is chaos. I'm actually doing my first, very proud of myself. It's my first IKEA hack in life. There's a long history of repurposing IKEA cabinets for networking stuff, and this is exactly what I did. I picked this up in IKEA last week. There's also been a lot of IKEA trips for trying to fit three people with a lot of stuff, well, two people plus one on the way with a lot of stuff into this little Jerusalem apartment. And this is the networking stuff. So what I wanted to do a video about today is, it's always funny to me what people send me emails about from my previous videos, and one of them is actually Bezeq related stuff, Bezeq home internet. So I wanted to do as quickly as I can just a quick overview of running Bezeq in bridge mode. BYOR, bring your own router, how that works, how that looks. So this is a Bezeq fiber gateway. They change these out every year or so. This is a little fiber Ethernet point that it took me months of calling Bezeq once a week to say when is the fiber here, and it came eventually. And this is it. And this is what I bought for the purpose. Actually, originally bought this thing for Home Assistant, but it was a great purchase. Now I don't know exactly what this thing is. It was a generic AliExpress. It's called an industrial PC, which basically just means a computer with a few Ethernet ports that you can use for anything. And it's fanless, which means that the cooling mechanism is just to the touch. It's actually using the body of the thing to dissipate. But it's actually a stellar purchase, and highly recommend. I'm running OPN Sense. I really recommend running it on bare metal. That's my just one tip I would give for folks. Don't use Proxmox. I was tempted to do that, but basically took everything off, said, okay, this is going to be for networking. Now what you want to do is to get your Bezeq in bridge mode, whatever gateway you have, router you have, it may support bridge mode out of the box, it may not. If it doesn't, you can kind of get pseudo bridge mode by disabling DHCP. You want to have one thing ruling the roost in your network. And what I did, the only thing I've run into with this confusion is you just want to remember which Ethernet port is which. I'm only using two, and that's my recommendation. Keep it clean, keep it simple. Have one WAN connection to him and one LAN to your network. So this little cable is running my whole network. Now I'm actually not using, the other thing I'm doing is not using Wi-Fi from Bezeq. So the reason I'm doing that is, yes, they will sell you their mesh network and whatnot and their proprietary stuff, and it's fine for most people. But if you're like me, an intrepid adventurer of home networking, you might want to run your own better mesh networking system. Very easy to do that, actually. You just need to buy your own mesh network and then connect that to the box. Now, what I did was, besides putting a label, yes, I'm a little bit neurotic. This is unit number 3. What I did was, basically I have a switch and everything. I'm using actually Zigbee. I'm using Home Assistant. This is a Zigbee light bulb, for example. Everything. This network printer, my delightful multi-array desktop, everything is downstream of Ethernet from here. So I've got Zigbee, Home Assistant, Wi-Fi, the works. And thing that always amazes me about networking, I still find it kind of hard to believe, this little cable is doing it all. That little guy brings my whole network to life. So that's the basic setup. One WAN, one LAN, disable this stuff. Now, Bezeq, people ask me about Bezeq Cider, Bezeq B+, and their kind of proprietary app. Yeah, it's a bit of a nuisance. What you want to do on Bezeq, your serial number, I don't want to show you mine for obvious reasons, the hackers. It's underneath here usually. There's a little label, and usually it's the last 6 digits you'll need to get into the box. So just take a photo of the barcode so you don't need to keep turning your thing upside and down to get it. It doesn't change, needless to say, and that's usually how to get in if you can find a way in. Now for the actual I see what's gone wrong here. I need to just reconnect. Okay, so back on the network now. So the way you want to configure this, OPN Sense, highly recommended. It's a great open source firewall, and you don't need to use it for it. You can actually not have a firewall, but it's ill advised because when you take down Bezeq, you are the firewall. Your device is a firewall. So you can see my WAN gateway, Bezeq, and it tends to like to hang out on 192.168.1.1. So I've just configured that as its own widget, its own thing. And I'm keeping it at that static IP, and that is it basically. You can see even the other thing I was worried about, if you're running your own, everything's on your network. I have 50 IoT devices, 50, let's say 10 or 20 Wi-Fi, quite a lot of gear. No, this little AliExpress mini PC with 8 gigs of RAM is handling everything without really much hassle at all. In fact, the CPU utilization is only at 3%. Other nice thing is getting a UPS if you're in Israel. Eaton are very accessible on the market, and you can actually connect yours directly into the mini PC if it has an USB port. That's the Ethernet box there. So just another kind of networking tip, I would say. Then when you go into Bezeq, as I say, you want to basically take down DHCP, and you want to turn off their Wi-Fi network if you're running yours, because otherwise you're going to get, firstly, you'll have a redundant second Wi-Fi network, and secondly, more importantly, you'll have signal interference on the Wi-Fi channels. And from here, it's basically just running OPN Sense. You have DHCP4, DHCP for IPv4, and that's where you can create your static assignments, static IP assignments, and that's kind of just the last thing. Oh, DNS. It comes out of the box with something called unbound DNS. It works just fine. So what you want to do is not set DNS on the client, set it here, and you can have, actually, there is a Israeli, if I can just find it in my open DNS, unbound DNS rather, there is actually an Israeli block list that you can use if you're sick of tracking pixels and all that kind of stuff. It's somewhere in the configuration. Thing about all this stuff is you forget once you set it. You set it and you forget it. So you can see it's actually blocking some stuff, blocks kind of tracking pixels, advertisements at the network level. That's pretty nice. And the way I have mine set up is then it forwards over to Cloudflare. So you get the best of both worlds. Fast DNS with Cloudflare, and you get the privacy and ad filtering. In my opinion, better than a Pi-hole. Keep it simple where possible, built into this project. And the second thing is, what did I say? Yeah, static IPs. Well, static IPs are quite simple, but I want to just say one major benefit, why I've been planning to do this for years. I moved apartment like 5 times in Israel. We still rent. And it gets really annoying having to redo not only the cable runs, all the gear. And I asked my new best friend, ChatGPT, what do people who move around the place all the time, or let's say they're in the military, or roadies for that matter, what do those guys do? You can't just set everything up. I gave me some tips that kind of led me to say, okay, might be a lot of hassle in the short term. The beauty of this system, if I can say so, is that it just means that if you move apartment, you need to replace your upstream internet, but once you've got your configurations dialed in on your router, whatever you're using for hardware, that's stable, and you just need to, edit the gateway settings a bit, get new internet, plug it in. So it's a much more portable way than having everything configured on what the ISP give you. Anyway, that's it. That's my Bezeq in bridge mode. I'm sure there's things I could be doing better, but it basically does work. And keep updated. OPN Sense updates every, now and again. I have automatic updates running, and it's pretty stable. You just basically take over the DHCP, take over the IP, DNS, whatnot. Yeah, if you're not a techie, this might be a bit double Dutch, but just to show that I'm still here, still around, and videos coming when life circumstances permit. Thank you for watching.